You leave the Formula One before the Formula One leaves you. Go do that. Go in the comments, create your own war down there. Like and subscribe, do that. So type something in the comments, because that's cool, right? Yeah, funny laughs, and yeah, enjoy the video. There are 3 drivers, but only 2 race seats. That means that one driver won't have a race seat, and they're competing for a seat that isn't like the desirable seat of, say, Mercedes, or Red Bull, or Ferrari, or now potentially Aston Martin. They're competing for a race seat that potentially, and most probably, they're gonna score 1 or 2 points, maybe a couple more, but that's literally about it. Daniel Ricciardo.
And Massa's getting sorted up by the pack, and down the inside goes Daniel Ricciardo. What a move from the Australian. He's picked up a couple of places in one corner.
Yuki Tsunoda.
There goes Yuki Tsunoda, round the banking, round the outside of Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari.
Liam Lawson.
Sector. Here comes Yuki Tsunoda, Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson has knocked Max Verstappen out of qualifying.
Now, when I say those words or names, those are the things that remind me of them. There's some good and some bad, and they're all competing for the RB seat for next season. And there's been rumors that it's already been a done deal, but is it?
Obviously, a lot of chat coming into this weekend. Can you give us an update about your future, both in the short and the long term?
Yeah, well, I say yes. I can't until after the weekend. I think that's when decisions will be made, and that was, yeah, obviously us that know the contract. That's kind of where the dates fall. So, yeah, after the weekend we'll know more.
Okay.
In that sense, is this weekend defining for you at all, Daniel? Does the result define what happens next for you, whether you carry on or not? I mean, that's what people are saying, that maybe you won't be in the car after this race.
Yeah, look, I actually heard something. I won't be in the car for this race as well. So, but also that was already after probably Japan or something earlier this year. So, look, I know how it is and how it works, and I knew there was always going to be some, let's say, dates and deadlines this year, whether it was like summer break or now post-Singapore. So that's post-Singapore's the next one. But yeah, honestly, it's still, so many things are up in the air, and yeah, let's see how the weekend goes. Obviously, I'm gonna give it all I can, as I have, and there's always something to fight for.
Now, I don't want to be that guy, but I am going to be that guy. You know, Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda, they're 2 all-right drivers, right? Liam Lawson, he's been said that, well, he's going to have a seat in one of the Red Bull teams for 2025. So something is going down. Maybe Verstappen is going to get booted out. Probably not. The 2 drivers that currently occupy the seat, Yuki Tsunoda, Daniel Ricciardo, I think the story is a bit different than what it says on the points sheet. Yuki Tsunoda is 22, Daniel Ricciardo is 12, but Oscar Piastri versus Lando, it's like 13-4, quali races, something like that. The point gap is only 20-point difference, but people are saying that Lando is having a shocking season, Oscar Piastri a great season, the new Iceman 2.0.
Good job, Oscar. Great afternoon. Fantastic. Yes.
And Piastri has literally achieved everything that Lando has in 2 years, compared to Lando's like 55 years in the sport. So, points aren't all that. Now, if we look at Daniel Ricciardo, agreed, he has been more consistent than Yuki Tsunoda in the latter stages of the season. The start of the season, okay, new car, Yuki Tsunoda might have understood it more, the more points on table because the car was faster. But I don't think that either of them should be getting the seat. I don't think that Ricciardo has done enough to justify him retaining that seat. A guy, an 8-time race winner, a guy who has fallen off a cliff higher than Elmo? No. Yes. Like, the plummet of Daniel Ricciardo is absolutely crazy. It should be studied. It's worse than the plummet of Mercedes. It is worse than the absolute downfall of Red Bull. Red Bull, just saying this. They had a special livery for Singapore, but they've decided not to run it because it's too much extra weight. Pathetic. That's another excuse. Yeah, and Daniel Ricciardo seems to be just plummeting and plummeting. Did I think he was back? Of course I did. Oh, of course I did. When he got back into that RB seat and cooked up a masterclass. Did I think he was back in Miami in the sprint race when he got P4? Yes. But I don't, ever since then, it's just been a bit pathetic. A guy with so much experience. A guy who apparently ironed out all of his problems last season with Red Bull. A guy who apparently last season in Silverstone put it on pole in the end of Silverstone test or whatever you want to call it. To now, well, the car might be shit, but what is Ricciardo actually doing? He's getting out qualified pretty much every single weekend, and the only thing that is saving him is the fact that Yuki Tsunoda has gone back to driving like he did in 2021.
Did it bit, and around it went.
Ooh. RB, is that the RB of Yuki Tsunoda?
Tsunoda, close the door, mate.
It is indeed. Close the door. Was the door ajar? Was it open?
In the last 4 races, Yuki Tsunoda hasn't finished higher than P16. P16 has been his highest result for the last 4 races. There's been crashes, there's been inconsistencies, bad qualifyings, call it unlucky or whatever. But come on. Now, agree, Daniel Ricciardo hasn't been the greatest at scoring points, but at least he isn't finishing that far down the order. Start of the season, he might have had a couple bings and bangs, but Yuki Tsunoda, a driver who wants to get into that Red Bull seat, I don't think he can be performing this bad. Sorry, he can't make excuses. He might have 22 points on the board, but those 22 points are slowly gonna get caught up by the likes of Williams, who literally scored 10 points in Azerbaijan. Now that might be courteously because of Sergio Perez and a little incident with Carlos Sainz. But the thing that still baffles me is that Yuki Tsunoda might be having these bad races, but in qualifying, he's doing okay. Like, Daniel Ricciardo is getting knocked out of Q1 every single session, pretty much. Yuki Tsunoda sometimes Q2, sometimes pushing it to Q3, but he's just been more consistent. But in the races, he lets himself down. And I genuinely don't think Daniel Ricciardo, however much I like him, however much, Oscar Piastri's mum, when she was like, "Oh, you're going to McLaren, Oscar? Wait, what does that mean?" And then Oscar Piastri was like, "Yep." And his mum was like, "Oh, Daniel Ricciardo, everyone likes him." And Oscar Piastri was like, "Yep, everybody likes Ricciardo. Everybody likes Ricciardo." I don't know who would want to see him leave, but I think it's about time. You leave the Formula 1 before the Formula 1 leaves you. And then you got Yuki Tsunoda. If that is his peak skill gap, then that is a big struggle. And that is like, that isn't something that good. When you look at Liam Lawson in the first couple races that he's ever spent in the sport, he knocked out Verstappen in Q2, and he just did a lot more than, like, they're both a bit questionable. I honestly do think, I agree with Helmut Marko that Liam Lawson deserves the seat, and he does deserve the seat of the RB, because, well, one of those drivers aren't going to get a seat, but in my eyes, both of those, Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki probably shouldn't have one. Lawson, sure, step in. He's been good. Super Formula, he was amazing in Super Formula in Japan, amazing in Formula 2, kind of got unlucky, but Formula 1, that's, I think, what everybody cares about. And the time he spent in Formula 1, he absolutely fragged out. In Singapore, one of the most hardest races of the season, if not the hardest. Maybe except for Qatar. Fragged out. He scored points upon points where Yuki Tsunoda, half the time, didn't start the race, or was in the grass, or just didn't do anything. Comparing those two, Yuki Tsunoda, meant to currently be the better driver of the team, he looked like a pleb. He looks like Alex Albon versus Logan Sargent. Now, usually, rumours are kind of true in Formula 1, whether it be a couple years ago, Azerbaijan, Hamilton, Ferrari, Okay, didn't happen then, but it happened now. Aston Martin, Adrian Newey, rumours happened. Kimi Antonelli, Mercedes, rumours happened. And now there's been rumours that Lawson has signed for Daniel Ricciardo's seat in 2025. Probably going to be true, and that's probably going to happen. But yeah, it's a bit sad. But then I wouldn't really call Yuki Tsunoda an experienced driver in that team. So yeah. Welcome back to what I like to call delusional discussions, where where I discuss delusional things because I'm delusional. And I personally wouldn't put Yuki Tsunoda in the car next season. I wouldn't put Daniel Ricciardo. Sure, Liam Lawson can go in the car. However, I think someone else has to replace L. Next season, I'd probably put Colapinto in there. I'd probably put Lawson in there. And those two would be the people to go into the car. Because I don't have faith in Yuki Tsunoda getting better. I don't have faith in Daniel Ricciardo going back to peak performance. That's just how it's meant to be. If you don't agree, put your thoughts down in the comments and watch it down there. Subscribe and like. Don't die so you can't watch other videos. Blah, blah, blah. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Peace.
That's all, folks.